U.S. President Barack Obama's trip to Israel, the West Bank, and Jordan is being hailed as a success of public diplomacy. But the initial practical success was a surprise. It was not a relaunch of the Israeli-Palestinian peace process, but a rapprochement with one of Israel's neighbors to the north. A phone call by U.S. President Barack Obama got Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Turkish Prime Minister Tayyip Erdogan to finally start talking again after relations were ruptured over the deaths of Turkish citizens trying to bring supplies to the Gaza Strip during the 2010 Israeli blockade.
Now, this is a work in progress. It's just beginning. As I said, there are obviously going to still be some significant disagreements between Turkey and Israel, not just on the Palestinian question, but on a range of different issues. But they also have a whole range of shared interests, and they both happen to be extraordinarily strong partners and friends of ours. And so it's in the interest of the United States that they begin this process of getting their relationship back in order.
Back in Washington, analysts say now it's time for a serious rethink on the Israeli-Palestinian peace process.
A recognition of that, I think, would be a good start. Another thing that he can bring is sort of a recognition that realities have changed. I think one of the reasons the peace process has been such a failure and is really essentially dead is that it's based on an outdated and in some cases totally obsolete set of assumptions that simply don't exist anymore. The reality has changed. The earth has shifted underneath everyone's feet, and I would argue even before the Arab Spring.
Following President Obama's visit, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry remained in the Middle East, stopping in Iraq and Afghanistan. And some think the U.S. could pressure the Israelis and Palestinians towards talks.
If something fractures it. Now, to be clear, I'm not suggesting the U.S. play Israeli politics, but if the U.S. pursue its own clear stated long-standing agenda, the Israeli coalition as it stands will not be able to avoid the main issue that concerns Americans and, to be honest, many Israelis as well.
But a former Israeli ambassador to the United States, who is long familiar with the process, does not think this coalition is the one to forge peace.
I think Israel is a country, called the Israeli electorate, I think at the end of the day will support a deal with the Palestinians. The Israeli government, as it is composed now, based on the coalition that came out of the elections, is not ready for that.
And Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas also has his hands tied, according to a former negotiator for that side.
And I think the main problem that we've seen with the peace process so far is that it has generally pitted the ability of a Palestinian leader to have domestic legitimacy against their ability to be recognized by Israel or by the international community as a partner. As long as these two things are in conflict, he's unable to do anything.
At the United Nations, diplomats note that there are still differences between the Israelis and Palestinians on key issues. But many say it is time to take advantage of new beginnings and a renewed push for negotiations. Some analysts in Washington think that the door is open to an interim agreement between the Israelis and Palestinians. But others think that this is a poor strategy, that to kick the can down the road one more time will only make a final agreement even more difficult to achieve, no matter how much the Obama administration focuses on this issue. This is Priscilla Huff for JN1 in Washington.